The camera pans across a glowing wedding hall filled with laughter, clinking glasses, and slow music. Then it lands on Ethan, a single dad sitting quietly in the corner, suit a little too old, shoes a little worn, but eyes kind and watchful as his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, twirls joyfully on the dance floor. Greater than, I came to this wedding just to be happy for an old friend. I never thought she would notice me. And I definitely never thought a single dance would change everything. The music slows. Across the room, the elegant CEO, Alexandra Hart, the woman who owns half the city's skyline, looks directly at him. People whisper as she crosses the floor. Confident, radiant, untouchable, until she stops in front of him. Greater than, you look like you've forgotten how to dance, she says softly. Come on, Ethan, dance with me. The screen fades to black. The story begins. Ethan Brooks never liked weddings. He used to. Once, before life took the laughter out of him. Before cancer took his wife 3 years ago and left him raising their daughter alone. Since then, he'd become a man who blended into the background, polite smiles, quiet nods, no more than that. Tonight, he was only at the wedding because the groom, his old college friend Mark, wouldn't take no for an answer. Greater than, you need a night out, Ethan, Mar had said. Just come, eat, talk to people. Maybe even dance again. But Ethan wasn't here to dance. He was here because Lily, his bright-eyed miracle, wanted to wear her blue dress and spin around the fancy ballroom like a princess. He watched her now, laughing with other kids near the cake table, her curls bouncing, her joy unbroken by the grief that still quietly lived in their little house. And that was enough for him. He leaned back in his chair, sipped water, and looked around at the glittering world he didn't belong to. People in designer suits, women in $1,000 gowns, the kind of luxury that felt like another planet compared to his simple life as a mechanic in a small town. Then he noticed her, Alexandra Hart. He'd seen her face before, on magazine covers, business headlines, charity galas. CEO of Hart Global Industries, one of the youngest women to make it to the top. She was talking to the bride, laughing, and for a moment, the perfect CEO looked just like any other woman enjoying the night. But when her eyes met his, it was like time froze. Not because she was beautiful, though she was, but because for the first time in years, Ethan felt seen. Not as a widower. Not as the quiet guy in the corner. Just himself. The unexpected dance. Later that night, as the slow song began and couples filled the floor, Ethan turned to gather Lily's coat, ready to leave before the loneliness got heavier. But then, a shadow fell across his table. Alexandra. Close enough that he could see the small scar on her wrist, the softness in her eyes beneath the corporate polish. Greater than, you're not dancing, she said simply. Ethan blinked, caught off guard. I don't really. Greater than, neither do I, she interrupted. But tonight, I'd like to try. With you. 1,000 eyes seemed to turn their way. Ethan's heart thumped in his chest. Ms. Hart. Greater than, it's Alexandra, she said, smiling just a little. And I'm not asking as a CEO. She extended her hand. Greater than, just as a woman, who doesn't want to dance alone. For the first time in years, Ethan stood up without thinking. He took her hand. Rough, calloused from work, against hers, delicate but firm. They stepped onto the dance floor. At first, it was awkward. He counted steps under his breath, she kept bumping into him, and they both laughed like kids trying to remember how to have fun. Then something shifted. The laughter faded into a quiet rhythm. The world blurred around them. And for 3 minutes, Ethan forgot the pain, the past, the emptiness. There was only music, her hand in his, and the strange, healing warmth in his chest. After the song ended, Alexandra looked at him, not like a CEO looking at a guest, but like a person seeing something rare. Greater than, you have no idea how long it's been since I felt normal, she whispered. Ethan smiled gently. Maybe normal's overrated. They both laughed again, softly. But before he could say another word, her assistant came rushing over, whispering something urgent. Alexandra's smile faded. Greater than, duty calls, she said, stepping back. Thank you, Ethan, for the dance. He watched her leave, heart pounding for reasons he couldn't explain. That night, when he tucked Lily into bed, she whispered. Greater than, Daddy, that lady really liked you. He smiled sadly. She's just being kind, sweetheart. But deep down, he wondered if kindness ever felt that electric. A week later, Ethan's life went back to normal, or so he thought. Until one morning, his small auto repair shop got a surprise visit. He was tightening bolts under a car when someone called his name. He turned, and there she was. Alexandra Hart. In jeans and sunglasses, holding a coffee. Do you always make your guests wait this long for service? She teased. Ethan almost dropped his wrench. What are you? How did you? Greater than. I asked around, she said. Turns out you're the only mechanic in town people actually trust. He laughed nervously. Well, that's flattering, but I don't exactly service Bentleys here. Greater than. Then today's your first, she said, tossing him her car keys. They spent the next hour together. Her sitting on a workbench, asking about engines like she was studying, him trying to act casual even as grease stained his hands and her perfume made the whole garage feel smaller. Between jokes and stories, she told him why she came. Greater than. After that wedding, I couldn't stop thinking about you, she admitted. About how peaceful you looked. Everyone in my world is always chasing more. But you. She paused. You've already found what matters. Ethan looked down. I lost what mattered. I'm just doing my best to give my daughter what's left. Her eyes softened. Then maybe you deserve to have something good again. Over the next few weeks, Alexandra kept visiting, sometimes to check her car, sometimes just to talk. They shared lunches, laughter, and stories of loss and rebuilding. Ethan learned she'd grown up poor, worked her way up, and sacrificed every part of her personal life for success. She learned that he still wrote letters to his late wife, and never mailed them. Somehow, between the cracks in their lives, something began to grow. One evening, she came by again, not in a suit, but in a simple dress. Lily ran up to her, hugging her like she'd known her forever. They had dinner together, grilled cheese and laughter, the kind that fills a quiet home with warmth again. When Alexandra was leaving, she looked back at Ethan standing in the doorway, Lily waving behind him. Greater than. Ethan, she said softly. Would you come with me to a charity gala next week? Not as a guest. As my date. He froze, stunned. His instinct said no, they were from two different worlds. But his heart whispered why. At the gala, surrounded by luxury again, Ethan felt that old discomfort return. Cameras flashed, people stared. But when Alexandra found him, her hand reached for his, steady, sure. Greater than. Ignore them, she said. Just look at me. And as the music began, they danced again, just like that night at the wedding. Only this time, she didn't let go when the song ended. Greater than. Do you still think you don't belong in my world? She asked. He smiled. Maybe your world needed a mechanic. She laughed through tears. Maybe I did. Months later, Ethan's shop had a new sign. Brooks and Hart. Auto care. Community first. A partnership, built not on money, but trust, respect, and love. Lily ran through the yard with a golden retriever while Alexandra handed Ethan a wrench, grinning. Greater than. You fixed my car, she said softly. Then you fixed my heart. He smiled, pulling her close. Guess we both needed a tune-up. The camera pans out, from the garage to the open sky, with Ethan's voiceover closing the story. Greater than. Sometimes, life doesn't give second chances. But sometimes, it gives a dance. And if you're brave enough to take someone's hand, that one dance can change everything. Love doesn't care where you come from, only where you're willing to go toge.